The jury has been seated and opening statements made in the first federal trial of accused child rapist Sean Williams. The jury consists of 6 men and 6 women alongside 4 alternates. Williams is facing 2 escape-related charges, one for an alleged incident last July where authorities said Williams tried to escape from the Washington County, Tennessee Detention Center. Williams is also accused of escaping from a prisoner transport van in October. He was later captured in Florida in November. Williams is representing himself after multiple attorneys left the case and claimed in court today that he didn't have enough time to prepare, asking for a continuance, which the judge denied. Williams also rejected a plea deal by the prosecution. That deal would have seen Williams plead guilty to the charge from the alleged October incident in exchange for the charge from the alleged July incident being dropped. He says he rejected the plea deal because he was unhappy with the wording. In their opening statement, the state described how he, quote, meticulously planned the escape, showing jurors photos of Williams' cell and testimony from Washington County, Tennessee Sheriff's Office Deputy Toby Briggs, who was a corrections officer at the time. This included a journal, Bible, notes about his planned escape, and a photo with Sean Williams, escaped convict, written on it. Williams also gave his opening statement saying, quote, just because someone escaped doesn't mean that they attempted to, end quote. Williams had an opportunity to cross-examine Briggs, but he did not get to finish. The trial will resume on Wednesday at 9 a.m. in Greenville.
Sean Williams' first federal trial continues today in Greenville. Yesterday, the jury was seated and opening statements were presented. Williams faces 2 escape charges, one for an incident last July where authorities say Williams tried to escape from the Washington County, Tennessee Detention Center. Williams is also accused of escaping a prison transport van before spending a month on the run last October. News 5's Kristen Kwan is reporting live from Greenville outside the federal courthouse with what we now know on this second day. So, Kristen, we know Williams was offered and rejected a plea deal yesterday. Have there been any other developments today?
Well, Rebecca, yes, we've learned a lot today from witness testimony. 7 people have testified today, and court is still going on right now, but there's a lot to unpack today. So let's start from the beginning this morning. You're about to take a look at video from outside of the courtroom. It's important to know that no cameras, no cell phones are allowed inside the courtroom. Now, this morning, the judge did go over rules again with Sean Williams, who is representing himself. He wanted to make it clear to Williams that he's not allowed to bring up certain topics, like the alleged corruption with the Johnson City Police Department, because it holds no relevance to his escape case. At times, it was tense, with Williams cutting off the judge and even interrupting him. The judge has warned him that he needs to follow the laws and that he will issue a gag order against him if he continues to be defiant. At one point, the judge even told Williams he was exuding narcissistic behavior. But today, we heard from 2 corrections officers with the Washington County Detention Center. One described a journal found in his cell detailing Williams' alleged escape. And during his cross-examination, Williams says he spent most of the time asking deputies about how the cell was shaped. And to be honest, it's hard to grasp what point he's trying to make, and it can be confusing at times what he's asking. But we've also heard from officers with the Pinellas County, Florida Sheriff's Department who described how they were able to locate Williams with the help of a canine. They also found a journal talking about buying hair dye, different disguises. But a key witness today is one of the U.S. Marshals that was in charge of transporting Williams back to our area after he was arrested in Florida. He testified that Williams told him that there were retention clips in the van and that he used them as a handcuff key. He then used his handcuffs to bust out the window and held his back against the window so it wouldn't make loud noises, and he was able to jump out and escape. At one point, he even told this U.S. Marshal that he felt it was biblical that he was able to do everything that he did. Now, I did walk out of the courtroom just moments ago. We have another reporter inside making sure that we don't miss anything.
Sean Williams' federal escape trial continuing today in Greenville. Yesterday, the jury was seated and opening statements were heard. Williams faces 2 escape charges, one for an incident last July where authorities say Williams tried to escape from the Washington County Detention Center, and another for allegedly escaping a prison transport transport van before going on the run for a month last October. News 5's Kristen Kwan has been in the courtroom all morning. She's now live outside the federal courthouse in Greenville to bring us the latest details. Kristen.
Rebecca, so yes, a lot of new developments today in the Sean Williams escape trial, including the fact that Williams did admit to the jurors that he did escape, but now he says he's trying to prove what he didn't do. But 8 people testified today in the courtroom, including officers from the Pinellas County Sheriff's Department in Florida. But there's a lot to unpack here, so we're going to start from the beginning. Take a look at this video that we shot earlier today. This is actually from outside of the courtroom because no cell phones and no video cameras are allowed inside the courtroom. This morning, the judge did go over the rules with Sean Williams, who is representing himself. He wanted to make sure it was clear to Williams that he's not allowed to bring up certain topics, like the alleged corruption with the Johnson City Police Department, because it holds no relevance to this case. At times, it was tense, with Williams cutting off the judge, even interrupting him. The judge has warned him that he needs to follow the laws and that he will issue a gag order against him if he continues to be defiant. At one point, the judge even told Williams he was exuding narcissistic behavior. But today we heard from 2 corrections officers with the Washington County Detention Center. One described a journal found in his cell detailing Williams' alleged escape. During Williams' cross-examining, he spent most of the time asking the deputies about how the cell was shaped. And to be honest, it's hard to grasp what point he's trying to make, and it can be confusing at times what he's asking. We've also heard from officers with the Pinellas County, Florida Sheriff's Department who describe how they were able to locate Williams with the help of a canine. They also found a journal in his things that described how he was able to buy gas, how he was planning to sell CBD to get money, and other plans. But a key witness today was one of the U.S. Marshals that was in charge of transporting Williams back to this area after he was arrested in Florida. He testified that Williams told him that there were retention clips in the van, and he used them as a handcuff key. He then used the handcuffs to bust out a window and held his back against that window so it wouldn't make loud noises until he was able to jump out. At one point, he even told this U.S. Marshal that he felt it was biblical that he was able to do everything that he did. But court just finished up here about 15 minutes ago, and we're expected to learn more at day 3 of the trial that begins tomorrow at 9 a.m. Rebecca.
All right, thank you very much, Kristen. Just a couple of questions for you. Since we can't bring cameras into the courtroom, can you just give us a picture? What is Sean Williams' demeanor like? Do his antics seem to be intentional, just based on what you're observing? Does it seem like these are delay tactics? And also, we know he's representing himself, so is he still in the orange jumpsuit, or have they allowed him to put on a suit?
Yeah, Rebecca, I would say his demeanor is definitely confident. He comes in confidently every day. And as far as that orange jumpsuit, no. But he does look different than what you've seen with his mugshot. He's got shaggier hair now, not the shaved head like in the mugshot.
The defense has rested in the federal escape trial of accused child rapist Sean Williams. Williams faces a pair of escape charges from 2 separate alleged incidents last year. Yesterday, the judge went over the rules of the courtroom with Williams and threatened a gag order if he continues to be defiant. Multiple law enforcement officers also testifying yesterday about Williams' alleged plans to escape custody. News 5's Kristen Kwan is live outside the federal courthouse in Greenville to bring us the latest details from today. Kristen, what happened?
Well, Rebecca, today, all day long, Sean Williams has been argumentative, and he's asked for a continuance or an acquittal of his trial, saying that he hasn't had adequate time to prepare for trial or subpoena witnesses. But despite that, Judge Ronnie Greer says that he doesn't have enough good faith basis to make those claims and has denied his motions. But you're going to take a look at some video from outside of the U.S. federal courthouse here in Greenville, because no video cameras or cell cell phones are allowed inside the courtroom. Like I said, he's been extremely argumentative all day. He's argued with the judge, made comments, at one point even told the jury he was trying to add some humor to the day. The judge continues to tell him to not talk over him. He did call a total of 5 witnesses to the stand today, most of which were Washington County Detention Center employees. He seems to be really focusing on that first count. Well, one of the people that he called today was his private investigator, Stephen St. John. Williams had the jury look at pictures of the cell he was in that was taken this year. The photos were objected to by the prosecution multiple times, given it's been more than a year since Williams allegedly tried to escape. And he seems to be very focused on the wall and where the concrete was missing from his cell. Williams then called a former inmate that was in the same pod where he was housed. Dustin Aminet, the inmate, spoke in detail about the layout of the cells, but he also testified that Williams removed parts of his cell and that Williams used to sneak Pop-Tarts and drink packets through the opening. Now, this was not said in front of a jury, but Williams explained to the court that he's trying to prove that just because you slide Pop-Tarts and other commissary items that you might get in the jail through cell walls doesn't mean that you have plans to escape. But he's having a hard time getting those points across to the jurors. Now, like I said, Williams did finish his testimony today. He said that he's not going to testify himself because, in his words, it won't do him any good, and he thinks that he's being railroaded by the court. He also says that if he is convicted, he will plan to appeal. But tomorrow morning, we're expected to hear closing arguments where both the prosecution and Williams will have a chance to argue what they believe in their case. And we'll have more on that, of course, online on our website, WCYB.com. But for now, reporting live in Greenville, Kristen Kwan, News 5, WCYB.
Kristen, with Williams representing himself, these proceedings are very unusual. How's the jury reacting to him?
Well, I'll tell you today, the jury is definitely acting confused at times with some of the questioning. I think that at times they look like they're bored. You can see a lot of them putting their hands on their heads. And then other times, like I said, just very confused about some of the questions. At some points, even laughing at what Sean Williams has been saying. Rebecca?
A jury delivering a split verdict today in the escape trial of accused child rapist Sean Williams.
Williams was in court this week, accused of trying to escape from the Washington County Detention Center last year and then escaping from a prison transport van in Greene County.
News 5's Kristen Kwan has been inside the courtroom this week. And Kristen, what did the jury decide?
Well, it took the jury about an hour and a half of deliberation, but the jurors came to a unanimous decision. They have decided that Sean Christopher Williams will be not guilty on count 1 of his attempted escape out of the Washington County Detention Center and guilty on count 2 of his escape from the prisoner transport van back in October. The government argued that the journal found in Sean Williams' cell detailing plans to escape, as well as the concrete missing from his cell walls, was enough to convict him of attempting to escape. However, in Sean Williams' closing argument, he told the jurors that hopes, dreams, Jolly Ranchers, and sliding Pop-Tarts through the cracks in the wall of cells is not the same as actually escaping. Williams told the jurors that he's not going to argue the second count and admitted to escaping the prisoner transport van, but he asked the jurors to find him not guilty on the alleged escape and to continue to follow his story after this is all over. Again, just to recap, Sean Williams found not guilty of his alleged attempt to escape the Washington County Detention Center last year, but he is being found guilty of escaping a prisoner transport van in October of last year. He's expected to be sentenced on November 18th. He's also expected to be back in court here in U.S. federal court in Greenville for alleged child pornography charges. Of course, we'll continue to follow the case and bring you the latest updates on air and online.
Today, a jury delivered split verdicts in the escape trial against accused child rapist Sean Williams. The trial started Tuesday in U.S. federal court in Greenville. Now, the jury deliberated for just an hour and a half today and found him not guilty on his alleged attempted escape from the Washington County, Tennessee Detention Center last year. However, the jury did find Williams guilty of escaping from a prisoner transport van in October of 2023. A sentencing hearing has been scheduled for November the 18th. Now, this is not the only federal trial scheduled for Williams this year. A trial is scheduled for August 27th on 3 counts of producing child sexual abuse material.